iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
This is Kugan Cassius for iFILM London. We're at DeGold gym here in Loughton. With me, I've got Hennessy Sports. Mick Hennessy, how are you, Mick?
Good, Kugan. Yourself?
I'm very well. Can you tell us about how the talks come about for this signing of James DeGales that you've just recently announced?
Well, you know, when it became clear that he was obviously, you know, a free agent, I was obviously interested in James. He's a top-level fighter, and he's already got a great profile. So you know, it started from there really. Once he was a free agent, I was approached and I was interested. So just went from there really. And one of the things I really wanted to do was I wanted to actually meet James, because, you know, for me there was a lot of sort of like, you know, misconceptions out there, or, you know, people saying certain things, and I had other people say to me that once you actually meet him, you know, you'll be surprised what a nice person he is, how nice he is to be around, and that actually come from one of my long-time boxers and a personal friend of mine, John O'Donnell. John O'Donnell used to be at Dale Youth with James, and, you know, when he was coming through, James, after the Olympics and on TV and everything, and people were saying, you know, about him on TV, John used to say, you know, it's not the person I'll know, it's not the person I'll recognise. James DeGales is a really, really nice person. He's a good bloke, and you'd like him if you met him. So it was one of them really. I wanted to meet him, and when I did meet him, I was, you know, really pleasantly surprised. He's good fun to be around. He's a good laugh, and he's a really nice person. He's got a lovely family, and of course Jimmy Mack. I've always got on great with Jimmy and Terry. So it's a hell of a team.
In your opinion, was it a complicated signing because of his previous promoters, or was it quite straightforward in getting him to sign for you?
Well, it was, you know, for me, the relationship was kind of already over. The board had made a ruling between the two of them, so for me it was a clean-cut situation. You know, I'm not the sort of person who approaches fighters anyway. I don't go around approaching fighters, and I certainly wouldn't if you know, if there hadn't, you know, have been some sort of resolution to what they were doing.
James has only fought twice since last May. His European title win, and then he had a defence last year, I think it was, in Denmark. How important is it to get him back out? Obviously, I know he's fighting on the October 13th bill, but how important is it? So, not the public are going to forget him, but it can easily happen, obviously. If you're not fighting, you're not in the public eye, you know, you can become the forgotten man. So it's important that James DeGales doesn't become like that, surely, Mick?
Definitely. One of the main things, you know, Team DeGale was concerned about was keeping him busy. And a fighter like him needs it. You know, he works on timing, he works on reflexes, he's got brilliant ability, but he needs to be kept busy. And you know, he's out twice this side of Christmas. He's going to be on this headlining this show in Bluewater, and we're actually looking at him, you know, boxing and headlining on Channel 5 in Monte Carlo in December. So that could be a really exciting bill. But thereafter, he will be fighting very, very regular on his march to the world title.
And what fight deal have you got? Have you got him on like a year deal, or is it like a per fight deal, or have you signed him?
No, it's a long-term deal. You know, we've committed to each other properly. We're with each other for the next 4 years, and you know, we want to do something special together. I think we spent a long time sort of getting to know each other, and I've watched plenty of his training and sparring and stuff like that. And for me, the most important thing now, after everything I've been through, is that I like the people and respect the people I'm working with, and that I actually enjoy the journey, because that's what's most important to me now. This is an unbelievable thing we do, you know, going after major world titles and major TV and, you know, major crowds and everything else. You know, it's what people, you know, love to see and would love to be involved with. But if you're not enjoying it, it doesn't, it doesn't mean a lot. It really doesn't. So it was important to me that I was going to enjoy this process, and I'm really, really loving what we're doing with the team. I really am.
Is it unlikely that we'll see a rematch with George Groves with James in the coming future?
Look, never say never. All I would say is, James is European champion. He's in the driving seat. He's on terrestrial TV. There's going to be, a big build-up for him. He won that Olympic gold medal on terrestrial TV. He became a star. He's coming home to terrestrial TV, and his profile's going to go through the roof. It's going to take it to a whole new level. He's going to be a massive star in British boxing, and if George Groves, wants that fight, wants to get in a massive fight, and wants that profile, then at some point, he needs to come and talk to us.
Just want to switch to Tyson Fury now, Mick. What's the situation with Tyson Fury at the moment as it stands?
Tyson is boxing on December the 1st at the Odyssey in Belfast. That's confirmed date. I've booked the arena, I've signed the contract. We're just looking for opponents at the moment. Chag IF, we was very optimistic. We was hopeful that was going to happen, but because of his promotional situation had changed and his training situation, he's not comfortable fighting by the end of this year without a new top trainer in place. So he's basically said to us that he's up for the fight, but next year. So we're looking at other contenders at the moment. The likes of Eddie Chambers and people like Dimitrenko and a few other names that we're going through at the moment. But we'll have an opponent shortly, and it's going to be a massive fight on December 1st at the Odyssey in Belfast.
How far do you think we're off seeing Tyson Fury fight for a world title?
We're basically doing it fight by fight because we want him to, we want Tyson to be a legend of the sport. We want him, when he gets in with one of the Klitschkos, we want him to not make the numbers up. We want him to do the business and take one of them out in style. We're not far off that really, but we've got to monitor it fight by fight, and we're seeing great improvements in Tyson. If you looked at his, I'm going out to his training camp tomorrow in Belgium. I've been seeing pictures of him and obviously talking to him and Peter, and he is in incredible shape. I mean, he really is possessed at the moment, and I think on December 1st, people are going to say, wow, this kid's the real deal.
Just finally, looking back on it now, Mick, do you think that yourself and Tyson made the right decision to vacate the British and Commonwealth titles?
I do, yeah, I definitely do. It was one of them really. The most important thing in getting Tyson to the world title is to make him a household name, to make him a bankable star. Someone who brings everything to the table, which he does. He's the most talked about heavyweight out there by the Klitschkos and David Haye. He's on that sort of par. So yes, I do, because at the end of the day, we need to make him a huge star. There's going to be huge revenues involved for us to try and bring him over to these waters. Concentrating on his terrestrial exposure and building on his fitness, building on his conditioning, because he went through a real bad period there, was the most important thing to us. And not to be playing anyone else's tune or on their time scale. The most important thing for us was to do our thing.
So what would you say to those people that said that he avoided David Price? What would you say to them people?
He never avoided David Price. It was my decision, and Tyson respects that 100%. I wanted to. I didn't want to lose control of that situation, and at the end of the day, it was Tyson had a much higher profile than David Price, and still does have. He's in a different league profile-wise. So at the end of the day, it was more important for us to build his profile, because at the end of the day, the big fight for him is the Klitschkos. That's the fight. They're the people to beat, not David Price. He'll once he gets that world title, he'd love to fight David Price. He really believes in that fight, and he believes that it'll take him apart in style. He'd fight him anytime, but everything's got to be right, and You know, that's my job. I've got to plot and plan what it's going to take. So all I see nowadays is I see a lot of promoters, you know, basically throwing fighters into world title fights that they're not ready to win on away turf and just not ready for it in any way, shape or form. That's just crazy. Just making up the numbers, just getting wiped out, and they're not even getting mandatory money. To me, that is crazy. I like to get fighters to world titles when they're ready to win them. Because at the end of the day, what is the point in having that journey, that absolute roller coaster, up and down, you know, trouble, great victories, celebration, depression, you know, what is the point in having that depression for someone else who potentially might take the fighters and then just chuck them in to make the numbers up? You know, there's no point. That's not going to happen with Tyson. I'm not going to allow it to happen. You know, we've come too far.
All right, well, Mick, thank you very much for talking to iFILM London. Your next show is on October the 13th at Glow, a new venue in Bluewater in Kent. Tickets obviously still available for this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you look on the Hennessy Sports website, tickets are available. All the box office details are there. You know, we're promoting this at short notice, 3 weeks, because you know how it come about. We've only just signed James, but it's a hell of a venue. It's the type of place where you can plan your day. You got 10,000 free parking spaces. It's easy. You can plan shopping, do all your chores.
And Nando's.
Nando's, yeah, it's a good Nando's when there's no queue there. But yeah, do all your shopping and then have something to eat, relax, and walk over to the venue. 50 metres. That's what I call a night out.
Right, well, unfortunately, we'll be in Liverpool for David Price and Audley Harrison, but it's a shame because that's 20 minutes up the road from me in Kent, so it's on my doorstep. So put some more shows on there, please.
I will do. Hopefully, I'm looking at doing 3 to 4 big shows a year now. So. Yeah, appreciate your support. Thanks for coming down today, Kugan.
No problem. Mick Hennessy, thank you very much for talking to iFILM London.
Hell, 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 hell.